Hello and welcome to another episode of Making a Difference. I'm your host, Cindy Ashton, at the Daily Ad Brief, coming to you from New York City. And we're going to jet over to California, to the sunny beaches of California. And we're going to meet an amazing man named Mitchell Levy. And he is a global credibility expert. And just wait until you hear how you can truly be able to get seen and heard for the brilliance that you are. Hello, Mitchell, and welcome to the show.
Cindy, great to be here. Nice to be in your presence.
Nice to be in your presence. It's so lovely to see you again. It's been a moment. Question for you. You're making a difference. Tell us how, and it has to do with credibility. So give us the skinny on all this.
You know, I've interviewed 500 thought leaders on credibility, and what happens is we've been taught all of these marketing cookie cutter approaches to life. And one of the things that's most relevant is to be able to articulate who you serve and how you serve people in 10 words or less in 1 to 3 seconds. And 98% of 500 people couldn't do that. So my goal is to educate others so it's easy for people to see who you are so they can see whether or not it makes sense to play with you.
So I really love that, because the truth is that if somebody doesn't know in that first few seconds in those 10 words or less, if they don't actually understand what you do, then you've just lost that connection. So you talk about, not being dubious. So in addition to the messaging and making sure that somebody actually knows what you do and who you serve, why do some people come across as dubious versus credible?
You know, there are 10 values associated with being credible. And what happens is people don't always live their values out loud, even if they have great values. What they do is they were taught how to do something and it works. And so I'm just going to say that typically what they were taught, they're innocent because that's what they were taught. The person before them was taught the same thing. And it may be things which, like any of the programs that say, hey, I guarantee you're going to make this amount of money, but they never deliver. That's a dubious statement. Those are not good statements that make sense because one size doesn't fit all for everyone. And so what ends up happening is if you could present who you are and what you do, and you could just be vulnerable, be authentic, be that there are 10 values associated with credibility and be able to live those every day. As a matter of fact, let me just share one thing because you're going to love this. I call it a sweet pop, your customer point of possibilities. Mine is 8 words. And how I would explain myself is in terms of the playground I play with is in 8 words. It's leaders living their values and making a difference.
I really love, Mitchell, how you talk about credibility from the standpoint of the values, because obviously credibility could be media attention. It could be you being credible in other ways. It's more on paper, but it's really true. How you show up in the values are essential. Now, I'm curious, what drove you to focus on helping people to truly live their values and show up as credible so they can really make the impact in the world they want to make?
You know, when I changed my publishing company, we've published over 750 books. And in 2017, I did my first TEDx, and I ended up realizing that I needed to think about the world in a different way. And I did. I'm like, oh, I need to change the publishing company. It became a done for you publisher. And 2018, I built a writing school. 2019, I changed my brand to Global Credibility Expert. And 2 months later, I had a Napoleon Hill moment. And it was simply, if I interviewed 500 leaders on credibility, I'd have a book. So Cindy, between 2019 and 2020, I interviewed 500 thought leaders on credibility, and I got a book, and oh my goodness, so much more. I ended up doing a TEDx, which was the 28th most popular in 2021. And what I ended up doing as well is I ended up with a life purpose, because what bothered me most is that when I interviewed 500 thought leaders, 98% could not articulate their purpose in 10 words or less. And it just means we weren't taught that as a way to communicate.
Yeah. Mitchell, thank you so much for enlightening us on the other side of credibility and what that looks like and how not to be dubious. Thank you. I can't believe our time together is over already. It's like a New York minute, literally, or maybe 5. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
It's always great to spend time with you, Cindy. And yes, it is fun to make a difference. So I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. And for those of you watching, thank you for tuning into yet another episode of Making a Difference. If you would like to connect with Mitchell, please go to dailyadbrief.com, and we will see you on another episode very soon.
Simplify presents Addressable CTV, combining the power of TV with the targeting and attribution of digital. Simplify's Addressable CTV delivers massive reach with the ability to scale without sacrificing precision. TV buyers can generate incremental reach with household-level targeting, frequency controls, reporting, and insights. To learn more about Simplify's Addressable CTV and what it can do for your clients, visit simply.fi.